Morning guys, Monday morning. Got a new job today. We are replacing some spindles, handrails, base rails, or installing them I should say. So these are the base rails, nice oak 40mm, 41mm spindles in there, nice oak base rails, nice oak loaf style handrails, that's what they call them. So yeah, we got nice one long one and two, one 3 metre and two just over 2 metre. Same with the base rails. This is what we're doing. So that one out, that's got to come out, and all of this is coming out. So yeah, all new handrails, base rail, spindles throughout, all the way down there and there as well. Obviously newel posts are staying. It's just cutting the handrails out, cut those out, make them good. So first job we're going to do is this section up here, so cut all that out, cut all this out, lift the carpet back, centre our base rail somehow, not sure how yet, because it's going to overhang a little bit I think. We'll figure it out as we go along, stay tuned. Okay, so first one is removed, just used the multi-tool, we've got to pull that, cut that nail off. What we've done is just use the multi-tool down the sides on this section. With that one we will just cut through the middle and then multi-tool the ends, because we don't want to pull all this timber out if we can avoid it, because this is where we've got to get our fixings on our new handrail. So we'll have to see, that one's already been pushed in unfortunately, but we'll have to figure it out, see how we go. So we're just ripping all this out now. Going down there with the multi-tool, cutting off all the pieces one by one. We ripped through the middle with the rip saw, just took that all off in one piece. I'm just carefully cutting this out now. Ricky's now going around and he's filling with the 2-part wood filler where he can, just to smooth off where we've removed the old banister. It will take a bit of time, but it's worth doing it while it's like this, because to do this afterwards would be a nightmare. We weren't down to fill it and make it good, we were just down to remove the old and put the new in, but it was much better doing it like this. It makes it easier for the client. As you can see here, I'm just cutting the base rail, and this is where we come across a bit of a problem. Nothing that we can't remedy, but again, these things do take time. Okay, so now that we've removed that top section and Ricky's just making good where we can with some 2-part filler where there isn't going to be any handrails, I'm just going to cut the base rail. The base rails, obviously, this is where your spindles sit, and you get in the pack your spacers, which you will cut to your length. So these ones, this is just out of the base rail. So you will get plenty of them, you'll get some in the handrail as well, and obviously you get more in every base rail. So we're just going to cut that to the size we need, and then we're going to test fit it. Might have to do a bit of mucking around yet. May have to widen the floor area to get a fixing for this, but until I get this up there and I start playing around with it, I'm not 100% sure how it's all going to pan out. Okay, so we did come across one minor problem, and it is something we can get over. This staircase was never centered, so the newel posts aren't centered. So you can see where the old base plate used to come to there, and obviously because we've got our new base rails are a lot wider and they've got to be centered to the newel post, we need to make this base plate wider. So what we've done, we've taken this old one out, we've ripped down some 80mm MDF to 100mm, which will bring us right to the face edge. We're going to put a new ball nose on there. That's going to go in there and be fixed in solid. And then we're going to plant on here, when the ball nose comes over, we're then going to put a little bit of decorative moulding on here, which will sort that out, tidy that up. And on this one, it's even deeper. So on this one, we do the same again, take that off. We're going to plant on 18mm, same as this, make this wider, make this the full width again, and then it would be exactly the same principle with a bit of moulding, and then that way then everything will be all nicely centered. So we've already ripped down our bit of 18mm. So what we're going to do now is this. As you can see, there's a groove there. We've got to replicate that groove on our rips of 100mm so that they will sit neatly where we need it to sit. So there's our 18mm. So we're going to, our 100mm rips, we're going to router those off using one of these bits, which will put a nice round ball nose on them, and then we'll cut those to length, and then we'll use a flute cutter and we'll run a new chase down there so that that sits on top of our new rail back, and it all locks back in then. So that being said, let's get those rounded off. Okay, so I've set my router bit to the rough depth I want to go. I'm now going to do a test bit just to see how it looks, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I've got my router bit sorted out. So keep your mask on, as a lot of you keep complaining to me about. Okay, so it's got a nice little round on there now. All looking lovely. So now we've got to put our little flute bit in there now. But I'm probably going to do another rip off of the end here and do the rounded again just for the other piece, and then we'll get back to that. Okay, so I've measured that piece. It is wider than the other one. So this is 128mm, they're 100mm. So by adding that 18mm face plate, like I said I was going to do, should bring it all to the same rough distance. We're going to rip that off, round that off, and then we can do the flute for the groove that we need to do. So let's get that cut. Okay, that's all of our new bits of the staircase rounded off and ready to go. All we've got to do now is put our groove in the back so that it sits over the tongue and the stringer, and we're good to go. So we've used our sliding square, or our sliding rule, and we've marked to the end of our groove like so, and we've transferred that mark onto our bit of timber. What I've got to do now is find a router bit the same as that. Nothing difficult, we've got plenty of them. Straight away. These are all mostly brand new, these router bits. That's nice. Pretty nice. So now we've got that, always take the battery off your tools when you're doing blade changes, because the last thing you want to do is hit that button. And you want to set our depth. Our depth basically is very simple. We're going to use this bit of timber as our guide. Wind. Find somewhere that hasn't got any rubbish on it. There we go, that's the depth. What we've got to do now is set our distance. And to set our distance, really simple, we're going to use the guide that comes with our router, which is this one right here. And that gets attached to that, and that gives us our guide. Simple as. Okay, so we've set the router up now. So let's get our mask on, see how she looks. I'm just going to see how it marries up. It's looking really good, so let's get the rest of this one done. Right, okay, that's those two done. So we're going to take these in and give them a test fit and see what they look like. We may have to do a little bit more work on them yet. Right, that is fitted absolutely beautifully, snug as anything, so that's good. That means now we can crack on. What I do have to do, I've got to replicate, I've got to put a very slight chamfer on one end, just to account for the stringer going down the stairs, but other than that, we're looking good. Very good. So that piece is screwed in, so we just got to splice our little piece in there, repeat the process there, put a fillet across there, and we're looking good. Okay, so that's now sitting in there absolutely spot on, all the way down. We had to cut a little notch out because I don't want to cut that out because that's structural. This will go that way a bit more, just needs tapping in. So we give that a tap in, we can then fix that down all the way along, cut our last piece in now, and we'll do the same again there. And then, like I say, we're going to put some decorative stuff under here just to make that a bit wider, make that one wider. Happy days. We're getting there, stay tuned. Okay, so that's our base rail screwed down now. Now got our oak base rail screwed down. We're going to put some screws underneath here just to keep everything pulled up nice and tight all the way along as well. Some 30s in the bottom of that just to pull it all up, and then that'll be looking very nice. And then we just got to repeat the same process over there. It's all nicely secured now. We put a few fixings in from the underside just to make it nice and solid. A little bit of detail on there, saying 18mm wide. We'll close that gap right up, lovely, and we'll cut it into over there as well. And she'll look lovely, looking good. Getting there slowly. Still got to put some timber in that newel post up there and glue it in, ready for the new handrail. But we'll get there when we get there. Okay, things are taking shape now, so we've now corrected this end. We're now nice and square there. Same overlap here as here. We've put some new boards in, we've doubled it up and put a round on there. So that's got a nice bit of support. That one goes back all the way and is screwed. That is fully screwed. Next job, making good the holes in the newel post up there. So I've already worked out roughly how much more I need to take off. We're going to be using a bit of this old bull nose, that width, because it's almost the right width. So we're going to cut it and glue them in now. Maybe put a few pins in as well just to hold it. Then I can get a nice fixing then with my handrail. Okay, so to make the plugs for the newel post, like I said, we're going to use a bit of the old bull nose that was up there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run the plane off it, plane these bits off, and then I'm going to run the plane through it a few times just to take a couple of mil off to get a nice snug fit. I just screwed it down, run the plane all across it. As you can see now, it's nice and flat. Not worried about that groove because you're not going to see it. I've gone at a very slight angle with this side just so that it's got, so it'll create a wedge. What I'm going to do now is cut them to length, loads of PVU glue, get them in there, get them pinned or however I want to fix them, let that go off for a few hours, trim it back, job done. Okay, so I've started knocking it in. You can see my pencil mark. If I go past that, all better. Pumped a load of glue in. So this is got to hammer that in now with my mallet. I'm going to hold myself against it there and tap towards me. Okay, so when you're putting these in, ideally what's best thing to do is to put like a mark on there like that, sort of something like that, just so you know how deep you've gone. And then if you go past that, even better. We've already done that side, just needs a face up. So we've just got to do this side now. Plenty of glue pushed in now. Hammer that in as hard as and how far as you can get it. Clean it off, and then you're ready to go. That side's in. That side's in. A face fill, make that look all pretty. I can put the handrail on that side, which is going to be my next job. Make sure these are plumb, and then when this is all gone off, we can crack on with it. Okay, so we've got one bit of handrail ready to go, and all we've done is we've cut 2 spindles to the height we need, so we can put one that end, one this end, and put a handrail on top. I'm going to do this way on this one, just a couple of big 70s up. I've already piloted it, So we're just going to done both ends, so it's going to be glued and screwed from the underside, so you're not going to see it. And then I might get a nice big screw, drill a big hole, countersink a big screw right through just to pull this in nice and tight. And maybe do something similar going that way as well. Because these are painted, I'm not worried about it. If these were oak or something like that, then I'd do something different, because you don't really want to see nasty holes and bits of pegs and God knows what on an oak newel post. But because these are only painted ones, it doesn't really matter so much. Okay, so our handrail is in. So she's in, she's got 2 screws there, 2 screws underneath and 1 screw going through there. Absolutely solid. We've cut a load of spindles, and I've got a little app. I've got an app that I use. You just add your maximum distance, which is 99 mil, and then you give them your length that you need to cover, and it will calculate how many spindles and the spacings between it, which I'll send a photo, which I'll attach a screenshot of when I'm ready to do it. But in the meantime, I'm going to get it worked out. Okay, so this is the app. So at the top, you've got your length in millimeters, you've got your maximum spindle spacing, and the regs state no more than 99 mil. I've got it set to 90 so that I get a decent space, and it spreads out nicely. We've got the width of the actual spindle, which is 41 mil, and this bit at the bottom, the 30 degrees, it wasn't 30 degrees, it's actually 1 degree. As you can see there, it's 1 degree. What you do is you lay your phone on the surface, whether it's flat or at an angle, and what I'll let it do, it will read how many degrees the phone is at, and then that will set the degrees for the spacing. So in this case, it was flat, so it read it at 1 degree. So all we had to do was just add it at 1 degree, and then it worked out the spacing. And this was the calculation. So it was an 82 mil gap. The slope doesn't count because that's for the actual slope of a stair going up the stairs. We are flat, so we wanted an 82 mil spacing. 6 spindles, as you can see there at the bottom. 7 gaps, but you've got to double that because you've got top and bottom, so there'll be 14 gaps in total. So that's 14 spaces. Ignore the space occupied by 1 spindle, that doesn't come into the equation. It's just the 2 bottom ones and the top one that you need to worry about. A great little app. So now that that's done and Ricky's sorting that out, I'm just going to fly now and start measuring up the handrail. Okay, so that one's all done, it's all spaced, and the camera angle ain't doing it justice, it is even, and then you'll post, I've got it as level as I can. So what I'm going to do now is repeat the exact process here. I've got a few spare spindles, they'll be exactly the same length as them ones. I'll put one that end, one the other end, handrail on top, get it secured, get it centered, and then we can then put the spindles in, put the spacers in, do exactly the same thing with the calculations. Happy days. See you in a bit. I did make a balls up on there. I forgot that I can reduce the maximum space of the spindles down to 90 mil, and by doing that it then gave me 6 spindles spaced out at 82 mil. So we took it all out and we're redoing it all. So Ricky's respacing right now, so now there's 6 spindles instead of 5, and they're within regulation. That was just me being an idiot. I've not done a staircase for a very long time, and I don't do very many of them. So, and that app is a brilliant app, but I forgot how to use it. Now I know how to use it again, but I was just being an idiot. But anyway, let's get this main long run done now, and then we can crack on and worry about it later. See you soon. So Ricky's almost finished there now. I'm just going to measure the handrail up, get that cut. We've cut 2 spindles to the right height like we did previously, and had them set at each end to help hold the handrail in place. We've then drilled through the back of the newel post and screwed it in with a 120mm screw, and put a couple of screws in through the bottom. We used clamps just to hold the spindles in place while we made sure everything was nice and centered. Very easy method to do it. And this is me now. I'm just doing the final calculations on my phone to get the correct spacings for the spindles for along this section. Okay, so this handrail was now on. It's screwed through from the back and 2 from underneath. Same at both ends. Loads of wood glue. We've done the calculations. It's an 86mm gap and 21 spindles all the way across there. So all I've got to do now is cut another 18 of those and umpteen spacers to go through there, and then we can get that all thrown in. So let's crack on with that. So now that we've worked out our spacing, we've already cut all the newel posts we need, which I believe was 21. This is obviously after editing. I can't remember exactly how many it was, and I think it was like 42 spaces or something along them lines. It was all done by the app for me. I've got to the halfway mark here, and I'll explain to you what I'm doing right now. It's quite important to do this. Coming along nicely now. We're about halfway through. But what I would recommend, because you shouldn't fix these spindles because they need to be able to move. So gluing them and pinning them isn't really advised. But what I do like to do, in the middle of a handrail that's this long, I like to screw one spindle in top and bottom. It just stops the handrail from popping off in the middle. Just keeps it nice and braced and everything pulled down nice and tight. So we just got to go across there now. A few more spaces. That'll be the landing done. Ricky's already made a start down there. That's our next visit. So new base rail in there, handrail, spindles, and then tomorrow we will concentrate on that bit. And here we are, just flying through those last spindles. Make sure they're all in there nice and snug, all pinned down. We did come a little bit short on the very last one. I had to trim the spaces by a couple of mil, but you're never going to notice that on such a long run. Okay, it's the top done. So the top all spindled up, all new handrail. All we've got to do now is work on that section down there. So all the tools that are up here can now go downstairs, because up here is basically done, bar a couple of bits of filler. Okay, let's get on downstairs. So Ricky's flown ahead and he's cut all this bottom out. I'm just checking the levels, and I'm using the original handrail to give me a guide on the angle I require for the base rail, which is a nice little cheat, as I'll explain in a minute. So we've cut that one, and we cheated because all we've done is, when we took the handrail off, we cut it at the ends, and then I just replicated the mitre on the mitre saw to give me the bottom mitres, and as you can see, they're beautiful. So that's that one done. Just got to work out now the height of the spindles, work out the mitres on the spindles. This is the same mitre, obviously vertical, and the height, and go from there. And then we get two spindles cut the same height, bosh bosh, cut the handrail, work out the spacings. Same story as upstairs really. Stay tuned, we get a couple of spindles cut and we go from there. So again, we're using the same principles we did upstairs. We've measured down from the top of the handrail the same distance as we did upstairs to the top of the handrail. I've used a little offcut of the handrail to mark the bottom of it, so then I know what height I need to cut the spindles. I already know the angle because it's the same angle I cut for the base rail, and I'm just going to clamp one here, and I've secured one with a screw at the bottom just so that I can keep it away, because the actual newel post on the left, the half post, is completely out of level, and I want my spindles level. The newel post, the full newel post, is actually pretty level, so I'm using a little packer just to shim that spindle off so that it's level, to make sure that my handrail is the exact same distance at each end. We don't have any problems with it sloping out, and then we're just going to secure it with some screws and some pins. Okay, so handrail is now in position. The handrail's in. We've measured the same distance down from upstairs, so it's the same distance down. We did put a couple of little pins just in the top just to keep it braced, and then what we've done is just put some screws up from the underneath, and screws up from the underneath, and again run it in through the front. Because these are painted, I'm not worried and you can't see them. I did buy some specialist fittings for these, but it just wasn't going to be appropriate. It's just a waste of money on these, so we didn't bother. So we put some wax, some oak wax in there to fill those up. We'll clean all this excess glue off. I've got 6 spindles to go in there. We've worked out the spacing, so I've got to get spindles cut, cut the spaces, and then that bit's done. So now that we're happy and that's all done, we've done the calcs again. We've worked out how many spindles, which I think was 6. And we're just going to do a quick test fit, make sure everything lines up, and it does. Absolutely beautiful. We don't cut the very last packers or the spacers, because obviously, like I said, that newel post on the left is out of whack. It's not level, so it will need to be a slightly longer one at the top, but it will work out absolutely beautiful. The client is really happy. I'm just having a discussion here regarding what's next, and we're going to replace the newel post caps with some nice new ones as well. Hey guys, I got carried away again and I completely forgot to do the end of day video, but we got that little section finished, so tomorrow we're going to do the work on that other remaining side. We're going to whip the handrail off the wall on that left hand side as you go up and make good that bit of wall. There's a little bit more work involved on this section on the right hand, so that's why we left it for tomorrow. So anyway guys, don't forget like, share, follow, subscribe to that YouTube channel, hit that notification icon, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Bye bye.